DC waited till the end of their show to show the new trailer for the Batman. We're not going to do that. We're going to start our show with the Batman, and we're going to go to Kelly first. Kelly, give me your take, thoughts, level of excitement, everything that went through your mind, body, and soul when you watched this brand new trailer for the Batman.
Well, so this was the main event of DC fandom, as you mentioned, and it was the main event for very good reason. This trailer was awesome. We were just talking before we jumped on the show that all of us have, we're responsible for the view count on that YouTube video, just climbing and climbing. Yeah, actually, I'll say I watched it the first time and it was like so much to take in that I kind of like, my fiance turned to me and was like, so what did you think? And I was like, I need to watch it again. I need to, like, that was just the first thing that I came away with, honestly, was that I needed to watch it again. And then that, kind of gave me the opportunity to let these things sink in. So the things that stood out to me, one, and this is something that we knew even from the last trailer that came out was a year ago now.
Over a year.
Yeah. Like, this is a young Batman. He's making mistakes. He's full of rage. Like, this is a new take on the character, which when we've seen a character so many times, you got to come with something new, and they're doing it. And I will say that, I think that you can see your fair share of like internet comments that Robert Pattinson sometimes isn't the most excitable person in interview format, but you can tell he's leaving it all on the set, so to speak. Like he is in it. Very excited about that. And then we've mentioned this on previous shows that this is really taking after like that Arkham feel. We've got this thuggish Penguin. We've got the vixen Catwoman. We've got the enigmatic Riddler.
Like the Jigsaw style Riddler.
And and I'm going to say one thing as well, that like one thing that stood out to me that maybe didn't stand out to the average person, they actually call him the Riddler in this trailer. Like Batman, because I think in a lot of these movies, as we're trying to be more modern and we're trying to be cool about it, we sort of dance around their comic book names. And it's like,
just call him the Riddler.
Call him the Riddler. That's his name. And they do that. So I love that. I mean, what else? There's so much going on. I think I'm almost like overwhelmed with the amount of things to talk about. But actually, the other thing that I got into like an absolute rabbit hole Googling was I was kind of looking up all the different details of this movie, all the different people involved in it. And then I saw that the budget of this movie is $100 million. That is the same budget as Batman Forever in 1995. That is the same budget. Actually, my fiance and I were dying laughing. It's the same budget as Stuart Little. As Night at the Museum.
Oh my God.
As Cat in the Hat.
Oh my God.
Oh my God, the Mike Myers Cat in the Hat.
I forgot that even existed.
Yeah, so did I.
But all that's to say, like, this is a lower budget than any of the Chris Nolan movies. I think Batman Begins was 150. Like, so I'm just amazed that, like, all of this is going to be shot really practically. It's really like the story, you can tell, is got this rough and tumble edginess to it. And they're doing it kind of rough and tumble in the way that they don't have a large budget. It's really being shot in like this cinematic filmmaker way. You can tell that everybody is so stoked to be a part of it. I'm stoked. I can go on for longer. I'll let you guys chime in. I'm not done talking about it, but go.
Brad, over to you, my friend.
I've been grinding my hands like this below the frame because I'm just like, I'm like trying to contain myself.
My hands are soaked.
Yeah. Why? What the hell's going on?
I don't know, because it's so exciting.
I'm very excited.
Right, tell us about your mind, body, and soul.
My mind, body, and soul. Well, first of all, I just want to make reference to the fact that I think Rob's t-shirt cost will now have skyrocketed since the airing of the newest trailer, because my boy Rob here has been on this bandwagon before lots of people. That for like well before that or even first trailer came out, he's like, I'm getting a t-shirt. I'm getting it. And we were all laughing, and now the new one's out, and I'm like, damn it, I want that t-shirt. So kudos, buddy. But first of all, cut me off if I start going too long. But it's exactly what we wanted. It's exactly what we wanted.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it couldn't be more on the nose of what we as a group have talked about since, you know, the Snyderverse Batman and the whole thing. It was kind of like we played those games, those Arkham games. We've watched, you know, the cartoon adaptations of Batman. We've read the comics. We've done all these things, and we just kept saying, "Can somebody just give the keys, as it were, to the guys that did the Arkham games?" They just had such a grasp on what all of these characters were, while keeping it comic booky but dark and somewhat grounded. And granted, those guys aren't running the show, but at least WB was kind of like, "This is it. This is what we need." And Matt Reeves comes in and just goes, "This is what I want to do." And they're doing it. And we're actually seeing it on film. And I'm like giddy. I'm actually giddy. So I guess that's my body. My soul is like fainting. The thing that I think I even said to you guys, the thing that was like a real standout for me right off the hop, and there's a million, but one of the things that I haven't been able to stop talking about it, is Colin Farrell as the Penguin. I don't think people are talking about it enough.
Whoever is in charge of that, like makeup and costume department, give them the Oscar right now. Like you would never know. You never know it was him.
You would never know. I even did a quiz. My girlfriend's parents were in town, and they hadn't seen it yet. And I said, "Do you even know who this is?" And I showed them a picture, and they were like, "Not a clue." I said Colin Farrell, and they just about fell over. The voice, all of it. I just think, so if we're all to kind of on the same page here, that Paul Dano seems to be the one that everyone is really, really hyping here, saying that he's the guy. The fact that they're keeping him under wraps at this point, and we got all that, and I'm like, let's go. We might be, I know we don't want to put cart before the horse here, but we might be looking at one of the best Batman movies ever.
Colin Farrell doing his best Robert De Niro impression with the "I got you, I got you." Yeah, sounds exact like just totally channeling De Niro there.
Yeah.
Beautiful. It's so good.
Okay.
Go Rob. Go Rob. Go Rob.
So for those of you who have not heard me say this before, this will be approximately the 150,000th time Kelly and Brad respectfully. See, I'm so excited I can't even get the words out of my mouth. Have heard me say this. When the Dark Knight trilogy ended, I love those movies. You love those movies. We all love those movies. They will go down as one of the best movie trilogies to come out in all three of our lifetimes.
For sure.
But when it ended, I looked, and this is like 2012. Okay.
Yep.
I was saying to you guys, whenever they do the next Batman set of movies, I want to lean more into like the source material.
Mm-hmm.
When you look at the Dark Knight trilogy, I think a lot of people look at like the Dark Knight specifically and say like that's the greatest comic book movie ever made, and it is. Like it is. Like
it's one of the best movies. Period.
That and maybe Avengers Endgame are like the two top like comic book movies ever made.
Yeah.
But I maintain and say often that my favorite movie in that trilogy is Batman Begins, because that is, out of the three of them, that is a Batman movie. The Dark Knight and the Dark Knight Rises are movies that feature the Batman characters and the Batman world, but Batman Begins is like a Batman story through and through. And that is what has me so excited about this. This is a straight up Batman movie from the Batman world, just coming off the comic book onto the big screen. Kelly, your point about them calling him the Riddler, I 100% agree. Let's stop dancing around it. Let's call him the Riddler. Robert Pattinson.
I know.
I was one of the people who, when they first cast him, I was like, I don't see it. And a few people, Brad, you being one of them, said to me, forget Twilight, watch some of the other stuff this guy's done. This guy's got some serious chops.
Big time.
And oh my God, the scenes. So my two favorite things about this trailer kind of go hand in hand. It's Robert Pattinson and the cinematography of Greg Fraser, because the shot where he has the guy up against the pole and he's like tasering the back of his ear, and you can like see his face, and he's like
pure
breathing.
rage,
It's like you can see it through the cowl when they're doing the interrogation scene, and Nigma's talking to him, and he's just like, and then he's like, you can see his like and then he just loses control, punches the glass. It's like he's exuding like that. It's coming. He's
that
wearing the
emotion.
suit. He's wearing a freaking suit, and it's coming out of the suit.
Yeah.
Like, and it's just like, oh my God, blown away by him in this, blown away. And then I want to touch on Greg Fraser as well. Oh my God, this movie is shot beautifully. The scene,
incredible.
The scene, the shot in the trailer with him and Catwoman at sunrise.
Yeah.
And it's just their silhouettes. That is beautiful. That's gorgeous. That's straight out of a comic book. Greg Fraser also did Dune, which we'll be going to see this weekend and reviewing next week. He did Rogue One. And I don't know about you guys, but the scene of Batman walking down, getting bullets shot at him, is eerily reminiscent of the Darth Vader walking down with the lightsaber, poning guys at the end of Rogue One.
Yeah.
Agreed.
100%.
That and the music.
Oh,
My God.
I write notes before the show, just a couple things so I don't forget. I literally have the word music with like 5 exclamation marks after it. Like,
yes.
Yeah, it's going to be the
like,
soundtrack to my life.
Like, to me, it was almost like all of the Batman music that we've ever got, whether it was the animated series, whether it was Burton, whether it was Hans Zimmer with Snyder. It was like all of them made like the perfect baby.
Yeah.
And
Michael Giacchino just came along and was like, I'm gonna make so you've got like the dual thing here. Like you've got the slower version of the score with the Nirvana song over top.
Yes.
And then you've got like the one where it kind of ramps up. That's on the back part of the trailer. Oh my God. And then the scene where it ends, where he's like walking, like if you're Robert Pattinson and you show up on set to film that scene where you've got your suit on and you're just walking out of your like badass muscle car Batmobile. And you know, the thing that also blows my mind about this, it leans more fantasy in certain elements with like leaning more into the Batman world, but there's also elements of it that are more grounded. Like the car,
he's driving a real car.
The car,
it's very utilitarian. Like it's very like real world. He put this together himself. Obviously, he's still supposed to have money. He's still a billionaire, but it's like it's a little bit less. You know, he has access to a full arsenal, military, whatever you want to call it, and it's more like he's just got the money and the ingenuity to do it.
Yeah,
on his own, which is really cool. Really
and it's like,
cool.
And you know, another thing about this, we know absolutely nothing about what the plot of this movie is going to be.
I have some guesses.
We have some
guesses. I was going to say theories.
No, but they haven't given us anything. And there's elements of it. Yeah. Like we haven't even seen John Turturro's Carmine Falcone yet. We haven't even seen him.
No.
Oh yeah, no, I know. I thought the same.
We haven't seen this character that Peter Sarsgaard's playing named Coulson, who apparently is like a dirty cop or like a dirty DA.
Right.
We've barely seen Edward Nygma, who, although they list him as being named Edward Nashton in this. Yeah. So I wonder what that's going to be. But at the end of the day, like to your point, Kelly, once again, he's the friggin' Riddler. Let's just call him the Riddler.
There's a question mark in the, like, I think that's what you mean about like fantastical, not the sense that it's like sci-fi or something, but it's like that the Riddler, you know, has the swirl of the
let's not overthink it.
Exactly. Like it's like everybody, you know, there was that little behind the scenes thing right before they showed the trailer, and like what Robert Pattinson says and what all of us would agree to is that this character endures. Like for some reason, there was something about this, you know, Rob, you got a few of the characters on the wall there behind you. For some reason, it is this character that transcends and just, and it's for some reason hits with everybody. And it's like, so you don't have to like pretend that we don't know that Batman fights a guy that looks like a penguin and that he fights a guy who leaves riddles. Like, you don't have to skirt around that because we all know and we're all bought in. So just do it well. And do it in a way that, like, to what Brad said, like, that's grounded, like it's grounded in like a world that feels real enough,
familiar, and
yeah, like it's just gotta feel real enough. And like that, and you know, I said this about the Christopher Nolan series, and I'll say it about this. It's like they're just taking it seriously, and that is what really helps sell it. So it's like, yes, ultimately this is a grown man who's like, you know, like, hey, I'm the Riddler, but like, it's so seriously done that it's totally fine. Like, it's totally, it works.
There's the shot of him like on the news, and he's like live streaming, like killing people, which is something that would happen in modern day. Like, dark. Like I told you guys, like they've, as far as I know, they've screened it twice. And the feedback that I've seen on social media, Twitter in particular, is people are like, Paul Dano is legitimately, like, he's scary. Like, it's a like it'll scare your children.
Voice is terrifying.
It's just this very like calm,
Yes.
like trying to reach you. And
I will say, so you guys know that my favorite Batman villain is the Riddler.
You're
like
a Riddler stan.
I love the Riddler.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because I love board games. I don't know. But something about the Riddler I love. So if I have one concern, small, but one concern coming out of this trailer, there's two elements that are reminding me of the Joker a little bit. So one is that he's being captured by the police, and what's probably a planned, you know, he's submitting to that pretty agreeably. So I'm thinking that he's meaning to, you know. And then the second thing is that, Rob, you mentioned the live streaming thing. That's reminding me of, you know, the Gotham News thing with the, so all that's to say, I have total faith in this movie, but I hope that they do enough that he's a more calm, calculated, less chaotic character than the Joker. That was the only thing I walked away with, is these are pretty similar. So I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt that they're going to do it, but I just saw the similarities there, and I worry about the comparisons.
I bow at the
so you're not worried.
Whatever of Matt Reeves.
The gauntlet.
Like, I think that dude knows exactly what he's doing. And I think, yes, there are similarities, but I think they're really going to lean into the I'm smarter than you, like, aspect of the Riddler. And that's like, you see the scene where he's like standing, and it looks like Bruce has actually done that in the Batcave, where he's like drawn out all the different
I think that's
Riddler's
him.
left him.
Rob, that's the equivalent of match clock.
Yes.
All physical objects man-made.
Yes.
From Batman Forever.
Yes.
It's him. That's definitely, I took the same thing away. Like, that's definitely him working it out. Like, who I think
he just needs Robin to run in and go, someone Russian is going to slip on a banana peel and break their neck.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. Imagine that's how we get introduced to Robin in the Matt Reeves Batman. I don't know. We'd probably all go, all right. The thing that I'm very intrigued by was some people were starting to make the correlation with Paul Dano's Riddler with the relationship between Kevin Spacey and, like, say,
Seven.
Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman in Seven.
They're really comparing this, and Matt Reeves has said that one of his inspirations for this movie is Seven.
And it's obvious, but not in a heavy-handed way. And anybody that's seen that movie, what's in the box? Like, let's go. Because if that's what we're getting here, I'm like, we're all just on pins and needles. And I love the fact too, very much to the point that we're all trying to make here as well, about the fact that it's like, okay, let's marry that comic book world and not dance around things, but also keeping it grounded. You do get that in a lot of, like, old-timey kind of like film noir, crime, mob boss kind of stuff. And it's like they've married all of these different kind of genres in such a way that it works. And it works in a way that, you know, you get that comic book, but you also get that grounded, but you also get that film noir, and you get that scariness that we're apparently going to get as well. And
that word is being thrown thrown around a lot with respect to this
Mhm.
movie. Noir, like everyone
Yeah.
is like, this is
Very
like
much.
a Batman point of view. Like, and you know another thing too that I loved about this, like I don't want to get into we're gonna talk about this movie so much until it comes out. So we've got tons of time to do
Yeah.
fan casting and speculation. We got 2 other things we need to talk about, but like I love that. Nobody goes to a Batman movie. Also, this movie is apparently going to be 3 hours long. I
I'm in.
don't, dude, give me 4, give me 5.
So
I
I
don't
was
care.
gonna say, I was gonna say,
Yeah,
Rob's
yeah.
there.
I'll
Rob's
sleep
break-
there.
Yeah, Rob's breaking his pillow.
Yeah. So no one goes to a 3-hour Batman movie to watch 90 minutes of Bruce Wayne. Like we want
Mm.
him in the suit doing Batman
Which it looks like
stuff.
we're getting so much of. Like it,
Yes.
Right.
like
Right.
Yes.
it's actually interesting too, like how much you see a snippet of him
Yeah.
as Bruce Wayne in this. The one scene where he's reading the newspaper, and then the other scene where he's like, I don't care what happens to me.
You
Like
gotta
that's
get him
it.
some new shades.
Very 90s.
Yeah, I don't know what's up
Also-
with those shades.
Quickly, because I know we obviously didn't start this podcast when the initial trailer came out. I love the fact that they're not shying away from the eye black. Just show it.
Yes.
Just show it.
Yes, it makes
Why
sense.
does it disappear in Batman Returns? Why does it just
And
disappear
the-
all
oh
of a
yeah,
sudden?
that's rough.
That's
rough.
a bad edit.
But
Love you, Tim Burton.
actually, you raise a funny point about actually no, I guess the live stream. I was gonna say, I'm like, do we know what time period this movie is? But I guess the live streaming kind of negates that it is going to be modern day if he's going to be live
Yeah.
streaming. So
Right.
yeah.
Yes.
okay, so he's just
And-
he's just being a little vintage.
He
with
just
the
picked up a
glasses and
cheap
the
pair
hair.
at
Yeah,
the
all right.
at the corner
The
store.
90s
And
are
how do
back.
we
The
know- how
90s
do we
are hot
know-
right now?
How do we know that
Yeah.
there's no scene in the movie prior to that where he's like following somebody and he just goes and buys a pair of shades to put on to sit while he's reading his newspaper? We don't know.
Endless theories, Rob.
Yeah, endless speculation.
Wow.
I'd
Even
also
down
like
to the
to point out-
nitty-gritty.
I'd also like to point out that this movie hasn't even hit theaters yet, will not hit theaters until March 4th, and it has already been